Everyone should have a very blessed summer, a guten Zimmer. Today we're going to learn about Mציעא Daf Nun Dalet. So the Gemara on Daf Nun Gimel Amud Beis starts about 5 lines up. Iboilu chumsha milegav or chumsha milebar. So we said you have to add a choimish when you poi the Yemaisa. Yemaisa Sheni they take to your Yerushalayim. If you don't want to take the actual fruit, you change it onto money. And you have to add on a fifth. So the question is a fifth from the inside or from the outside? Meaning, if you have 4, you need to add another 1, and now it's a fifth after you added it. Or when you have 5, you have to how much is a fifth of 5? 1. You have to add 1. Let's say example of if it's worth 20, so fifth of 20 is 4. You have to have another 4. Or no, it's after you add it on, so you have to add another 5. After you have it add it on, that's 25. It's a fifth. Toshma, come and listen. So here it's talking about where you poida from Hekdesh and also the din of Choimish. And I think the Gemara's question before was actually about Hekdesh as well. So there's a din that if you poida something that you mumakdish yourself, you have to add a choimish. So not Bezdin, Hekdesh, when they're selling, someone was makdish an item, he was makdish, let's say his watch, and now he wants to be poidered, he has to add a fifth if he's poidered. If someone else is poidered, he only has to pay its value. So now Hekdesh is auctioning off this watch that he was makdish, and the owner, Bailim Oimer Be'esrim, B'chol Odom Be'esrim, he's willing to pay 20 for it, but some other person is also willing to pay 20. It says Braisa, Bailim Koidmim, the Bailim have the first right on this watch, because Hekdesh is going to gain the most. It's going to get not 20, it's going to get 25 or 24. We're going to see in a second. If one person said, I'm willing to pay 21, and the owner is willing to pay only 20, a Bailim Noisrim Esrim V'Sheish. We force the Bailim to pay 26, because he's willing to pay 20, plus Choimish is 1, that's 25. But also he has to pay the extra 1. You can't give it to him for 20 because someone else is willing to pay 21. And to give it to that person for 21, you can't, because Hekdesh is going to lose. It's going to get only 21, and from the Bailim it's going to get 25. So because we force the Bailim, he has to pay 26. 20 for what he has, 21 for the estimation of this other guy. But the Choimish is only on the 20 that he was willing to give, because he wasn't willing to give 21, and we force him to give 26. But we could see from here already that the Choimish is after you add it on, because from 20 a Choimish is 5 from the outside, not from the inside. If it's from the inside, it's only 4, as we said. So if someone says he's willing to pay 22 and the Bailim only willing to pay 20, a Bailim has the same idea, 22 because of the other guy, and another 5 choimish on the original 20 that he agrees to pay. Someone's offering 23, so the same idea, Bailim 23 like the other guy said, but the choimish is only what he was willing to give. You can't give it to the other one for 25, because here it's more if the Bailim will be poidered. The fee, why don't we give the choimish? The choimish should go on the full amount. If someone else 25, there should be a choimish on that. So the price, no. Because this person put up the price and I wasn't willing, the Bailim were not willing to put up the price. On that extra, you don't give choimish. But on that extra, you do have to give. The Hekdesh shouldn't lose. Shmami, no, we see from here, since a choimish of 20 is 5, Shmami, no, we can see the choimish is from the outside, not in Western world. When you say a fifth, it always means a fifth of the sum. Here, a fifth means after you add to the sum, it's going to be a fifth. Shmami, no, a clear raya. Said the Gemara Ketanoy, it's a machloikis tanoim. If choimish is milebar or milegav, from the after the sum is added up or before. It says, Vayosef chamishisoi olov sheyehu v'chonsha chamisha. That means, we dashing from the pasuk that after you add it on, then it's going to be a fifth, not before you add it on. Divrei Rabbi Yishaya, it says a fifth of it, the fifth of the keren, and that's before you add on. The keren is 20, so the fifth of that is only 4, not 5. You add on the 4, and even after now it's 24, it's not a fifth. But when you measured it before you added it on, it was a fifth. Says the Gemara, so what the din if you put the Ma'aseh Sheni and you didn't give the chomesh? Did the peris go out l'chulin and now I could eat them like normal peris? And the extra chomesh akanafshe, meaning it's on him. He owes that to Hekdesh, he owes that to Ma'aseh Sheni, but not that it's ma'akev in the P'diyah. So again, chomesh ma'akev, and if I don't give that, let's say I had fruit worth of 20 and I was poid it on 20 and I didn't add on a 4 or 5, depends if you would shit of the Tanoim. Is a ma'akev and then I can't eat the fruit, or in a ma'akev? Explains the Gemara, dalid b'dalid, if I had 4 and I was poid it on 4 and I didn't add any chomesh, porik, he comes out v'akanafshe, and it's on him to pay the extra chomesh. V'akanafshe moisif chomesh, alma chomesh lo ma'akev, that's one side. Oy dilma arba b'chamisha porik, you could only be poid of 4 and 5. The chomesh ma'akev, and chomesh, you don't give it, it's not chal, and the pears are still Ma'aseh Sheni, and you're not allowed to eat them. Yoiva belav. Omar Ravina, come and listen. Toshma Dmai, if you have Sofik Ma'aseh Sheni, ein lo chomesh. You don't have to give a chomesh on Sofik Ma'aseh Sheni. Ve'ein lo bio. There is a din that all the trumas of Ma'asros, every 3 years you have to make sure that you've given them all. It's called bia. Every 3 years, at the end of the 3rd year and at the end of the 6th year. So Sofik Ma'aseh Sheni doesn't have beer. You don't have to get out of the house. Ha keren, it's mashma when if you poider it, you have to be poider it on keren, on a capital. Yeshloi. So the Gemara, my timer, what's the difference between keren and chomesh? Keren the ma'akev, keren that's ma'akev, that if you don't, that you can't be poider without the keren, b'doraisa, isa b'dorabonon. So by Dmai, that's only chayim b'dorabonon, because it's only a sofek. You have to give the keren. Chomesh, the lo ma'akev b'doraisa chomesh, if you don't give it in a doraisa, the case of Ma'aseh Sheni, it's still yoytze lechulin. So therefore, leisa b'dorabonon, even b'diavad, you don't have to give it. No, even lechatchila, in no way you need to give a chomesh. But if chomesh was ma'akev by doraisa, it wouldn't make sense that Rabbanon mutaken that by Sofik you don't have to give chomesh. It's part of the payment. Elamai, it's not. It's a separate part, and therefore by the Raisa we have it. By the Rabbanon we're not machmir about it. So we have a raya that chomesh. If I'm paid 4 pounds worth of fruit on 4 pounds, and I don't add the chomesh, it's yoytze lechulin, and I'm chayev the chomesh later to Ma'aseh Sheni. So the Gemara lemek etanoi lechor this is machlokes tanoi. It says Nosan Esakar, and he gave only the capital. V'loi Nosan Esachoimish, exactly our case. Rabbi Lezer Oimer Yochel, he could eat the fruit. Rabbi Shomer Lo Yochel, he can't eat the fruit. Omar Rabbi Niran Dimur Rabbi Lezer b'Shabbos. I agree with what Rabbi Lezer says only on Shabbos that you're allowed to eat the fruit. The Divrei Rabbi Yeshua b'Choil, and the words of Rabbi Yeshua that you're not allowed to is to on weekdays. Says the Gemara, since Rabbi said, I agree with Rabbi Lezer on Shabbos, it means that Rabbi Lezer also spoke not about Shabbos over there, I don't agree, but he also spoke over there. Since he said, I agree with Rabbi Shua and Choil, Rabbi Shua also spoke, afilu b'Shabbos, and over there he doesn't agree. So we could see Rabbi Shua and Rabbi Lezer argue also on Shabbos and also Choil. One says you're allowed to eat without Choybesh, and one says you're not allowed to eat. And Rabbi makes a distinction between Choil and Shabbos. This is a machlokes. The Rabbi Eliezer sova Choybesh lo ma'akev, and therefore you could eat the fruit. Rabbi Yeshua sova Choybesh ma'akev, and that's why you can't eat the fruit. And Rabbi says really it's no ma'akev, but we want to make sure he pays his choimish, and that's why he has to pay. That's why on weekday it's ma'akev, but on Shabbos, because on Shabbos it's no ma'akev. Omar Papa loy, no. Really, everyone hold that if you point there to Vat Chomish, it's no ma'akev, like we brought right from the Brisa early on. And the machlokes is over here. Oh, we choishes, I didn't pay the chomish, I might not pay it, and therefore we tell him in the Rabbanon, you're not allowed to eat it until you give the chomish. But with the Raisa for sure it's chal. Masova, the one who holds that you're not allowed to eat the fruit, and that's why it's a gzera derabron and why lo yochel. Masova lo cheshinu lepshiusa, and that's why we go to the Raisa and the Maisa Shein is nifta, the chalois is chal, so you could eat the fruit. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, akol moedim, everyone agreed behekdesh echile, that if I was magdish my watch and then I want to point it and I have to add a choimish, so if by hekdesh, if I didn't give the choimish, it's chal. So Omar Rabbi Yochanan, akol moedim behekdesh echile, even without giving the choimish. Why? Oil, since the gizborim toivim oiso bashuk, since the people from Hekdesh, the ones who are in charge from Hekdesh, they know they didn't pay the choimish. They'll make sure he'll pay it. So there's no chashash lepsur, so they won't pay it because they're going to nag him about it and ask it from him. Correct the Gemara by Hekdesh lepligi. Is that true that there's no machlokes in Hekdesh if it's chal or not without choimish? Vatani we learned in the Brisa nosan esakarim v'lo nosan esachoimish. He gave only the capital and he didn't give the fifth. Rabbi Lezer, same machlokes. Rabbi Lezer mechilel, chomerim lo yichilel. And Omar Rebbe, Nirdiv Rabbi Eliezer behekdesh. I agree with Rabbi Lezer by hekdesh. Then the din is that it's chal. V'diver chachomim b'maisa, that's when it's not chal. When the chachomim who said lo yichilel, that's only maisa, but by hekdesh, yes, that's what Rebbe says. That's what he thinks. Midoma, like what we said before, the Gemara is going to say, Midoma, Niran Diver Rabbi Eliezer behekdesh, Michal de Pligi Efilu b'maisa. If you say you agree with someone on what I agree him over there, that means someone else you don't agree. So it means also by maisa is choylek. Midukoma, since he said, Rebbe said, Niran Diver Chacham b'maisa, I agree with Rabbanon b'maisa, it's mashma, Michlal, the Inu Pligi Efilu behekdesh, also behekdesh, and over there I don't agree with them. So it says here very clearly in the Brisa, also by Hekdesh, there's still the din of it's no chal lefi one shita. So Eloit Marochit. So the Gemara, if Rabbi Yochanan said something about this, he said something a bit different. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Akol Moedim b'Shabbos behekdesh chilel. Even the shita will hold that by Hekdesh it's not chilel, but on Shabbos, yes. And the Gemara is going to explain why. Because really midoraisa Hekdesh is also chal without the choimish, and therefore on Shabbos we have two kolos. We want you to enjoy your Shabbos, to have an oinig. Oinig is a very high word that's applicable mainly for Shabbos, and it's to maybe indulge or really enjoy yourself on Shabbos. So therefore we want that these periods should be chal. Yeah, the parents of the Yupoide, let's say from Hekdesh, should be chal, they should have what to eat. Void oil v'gizborim toivim shabasuk, also because of Hekdesh, has a gain that the person, the gizba is toivehim, so therefore he won't be poishea. So together with these two things of korasa l'shavas oinig, and we're not choishesh l'psirsa, everyone will be masking that you're allowed to eat the fruit or whatever Yupoide from Hekdesh on Shabbos. Omar Romi Bar Choma, says Rom Bar Choma, we said Hekdesh enu mischala karka. You can't be poite hekdesh on a field. You have to only on metaltalin. Derachmona Omar, v'nosan hakesef ekomloi, and it's mashma not karka. Choim shoy, what the din of the choimish when I have to pay hekdesh for the item that I want to redeem, that I can't give a karka. Can the choimish, can I give a karka? Maushi is chala karka. The watch is worth £1,000, and I've makdish it, so now I have to give 1,250 if the choimish is milibar. And can I give the 250 of a karka to Hekdesh? Another shaila, truma ina mishtalemes ela menachulin. When I eat truma b'soy shoygig and I'm not kohen, so I have to give back truma to the kohen, and have to give it to something that's roy to become truma. Paris. That one means minachulin. Peres the cholin and they become truma. Why is that? And we darshan dovar roilu is kodesh. You have to give back the kohen something that's roy to be kodesh, and that's chulin and fruit. Two things. There also has to be not truma yet. It has to be chulin and also fruit that roy to be truma. Chumsha, when I have to pay a fifth over what the value that I ate, that's also din fa'id b'shoigeg. Ma'osh yishtalim shloim elachunim. Can I give that cash, not Paris? Can I give it Paris at truma already? What's the din? Question number 3. Maisa, we know if I want to be paid the Paris of Maisa, if you want you can't redeem it on a coin that doesn't have a shape. The Torah said you should take money, and this is not money. The rabbi is called a sheshel of tzura. The lashon tzura is a lashon with a shape, and it's not considered betzarto if it doesn't have a shape on it. What's the din choimshoy when I redeem 100 pounds of fruit? I have to add another 25. That fifth, can I be paid it on a coin without a shape on it? So we had 3 shilas. One thing about hekdesh, can you be paid the choimish? Is choimish different when the capital and you can be paid it on karka? One about truma, can you be paid the choimish different than the actual truma from, let's say, money, and not something like royal is kodesh? And the third question is, with Meiser Sheni, can I do it on a simoin, the choimish? I know the capital I can't, but can the choimish, yes, do on a simoin? So this question came across, rolled, it came in front of Rov, Omalu, Omar Kroitz, and the Pasuk Olov. In all these 3 psukim, it says the word Olov. Rabbi's chumsha kemoise. It's coming to tell you that the choimish Olov on top of the capital is telling you that the capital is the same like the choimish is like the capital. And like the capital, by hektish you can't give karkas. Also the choimish you can't give karka, and by truma you have to be dovar roilius kodesh. Also the choimish has to be roilius kodesh. And like by Meiser Sheni, you can't the capital, you can't do an asimoin. So also the choimish you can't do an asimoin. Omar Ravina, af anona mitanin. I learned this as well. A kohen of truma, someone who stole truma v'lo yochel and he never ate it. So it's a normal case of neva. He stole truma that has a value, a much lower value. You could only sell it to kohenim. He sold truma, so you have to give back twice truma, the value of truma that he stole. Ochlo, but if he ate it, now it has a whole new din, because if you eat truma, it has a special din that you have to give it and its choimish. So mishalem shnei kronim v'choimish, 2 capitals and a choimish and 1 choimish. Keren v'choimish, 1 capital and the choimish on top of that in a chulin. Has to be something a roilio is kodesh. So we could see here clearly in this brisa that by truma, when you eat truma, the choimish has the same thing like the capital, because it has to be minachulin, has to be something a roilio is kodesh. But the other Karen made truma, because the other Karen, why am I chayav kefil? Because of gneva. The gneva wasn't made truma, so I could give cheap ones. I could give something much less value, something that's truma. The value of truma is much cheaper than chulin dika fruit. But it's clear in the brisa that the choimish has the same thing like the capital. Shma mino, choimshe kemoisoi. Shma mino. So we could see clearly in the brisa that by truma the choimish is the same like the capital. And since we said Olov is all in the same psukim, and the shaila of choimish and capital is really the same shaila in all 3 cases, so we'll hear it's a raya not only to truma, it's a raya also to Meiser Sheni and to hekdesh. Omar Rova. Says Rova, Gabi Gezel Ksiv, when someone steals and he makes a shvua shov, it says in the pasuk v'chamishisov Yosef Olov. It says Lashon lov chamishis, lots of fifths. Vetnan, and we learned in the Mishnah, Noson Esakeren v'nishbaloi. If someone made Reuven came to Shimon, he told me, owe him 100. Shimon told him, I don't know what you're talking about, and he made the shvua. And now it's time to pay the Keren, and he admitted at the end that he lied. So he has to pay 100 plus a 25 choimish. And now he gave that Keren the 100, and when he said, you owe me still another 25, he said, I don't owe you anything, and he made the shvua l'sheker. And now he's moida. So I raise the moisif choimish al choimish, he has to not only give the 25 back, he has to add on that 25 another fifth. And that's about 6, if we go that from the outside. Ad sheismai takeren pochus mishover pruta. He could go on many times, and he lies again about the choimish and the choimish, but every time he goes smaller and smaller until when the last, if you made the shvov and that the choimish was less than shover pruta, you don't add the choimish. So that means by lying, the din of choimish, by lying they have to pay, you could have many times choimish. Clear, it covers on the posuk and the first mishnah. Gabet truma ksiv, it says something else. Ish kiyoichal kodesh b'shkora. Someone eats truma by mistake. V'yosaf chamishisoy. Doesn't say chamishisoy of many, but it says v'yosaf, and he adds a fifth, olav, on top of that. V'tnana, we learned in the Mishnah. Aoichel truma b'shoigig. Someone eats truma by mistake. Mishalem keren v'choimish. He pays the capital and the fifth. Echod oichel, doesn't matter if you ate. V'echod ashoyse if you drank the truma. V'echod asacho if you use the oil of truma to rub your body, because it's like eating. And then continues the braytha. Echod truma Torah, doesn't matter if you ate Torah dika truma. V'echod truma tmea, even though it's not roy to echol da koyanim, you still have to give the capital and a fifth. Mishalem choyshe, you still pay the fifth. And you pay the fifth. Mishalem choymsho. The choymsho. And a fifth of a fifth. What's the case? How do you have a fifth of a fifth by truma? So let's say you ate truma, and then you had to give a fifth dovar oilios kodesh, and that becomes also truma, and then he ate that fifth as well. So he ate, and then he was by mistake. So he has to give now again the capital of the fifth, and a fifth on that. Also we say choimish after choimish, even though they doesn't say the loshen chamishisov. Be'ilu gabe maisa, by maisa loy nichtav kosiv, doesn't say chamishisov, veloy misnaton, and there's no mishnah telling you that you have to pay maisa on maisa. And what's the case? If you appoid, if the maisa, you had maisa sheni, and then you appoided it, and you gave a fifth, and then when you appoided that on another one, you don't have to give a fifth. Let me just look this in. Yeah, it's talking about a case where you poida, and then you want to be poided again in another coin. So you don't have to give a fifth on a fifth. We don't have any shaila about it. It's clear for us that you don't have to give another fifth, only once. Gabe hegdish, by hegdish, so again, let's go over this again. Gezel for sure, yes. Truma, we know that yes. We don't know exactly what the reason yet. By Maisa for sure not. By Hekdesh, Gabe Hekdesh, Ksiv v'imamagdish yigal es beiso v'yosav chamishiso kesef erkecho. If someone was magdish his house and then he wants to be poiderit, he has to add on a fifth to be poiderit. V'tnan, we learned a poideres ekdeisha moisif choimish. He has to add a choimish. Chum shetnan, it says a choimish. Chum shet a chum shaloitnan. If now he wants to be poida, the fifth that he was magdish, so he was poida his house for $1 million. He had to add a fifth, 250,000, and I want to be poida that. Does he have to give another fifth on that? So here we have a shaila. What's it in? Gabe truma is the reason by truma why we say there is a fifth on the fifth, because ksiv v'yosaf, it says v'yosaf, and he added, so it's mashma added again. Gabe kodesh nami ksiv v'yosaf, in hegdish also says v'yosaf. And therefore, also by hektish, you'll have to give when you point a fifth on a fifth. It says v'yosaf. The limud is not because it says v'yosaf and means in another time. No, the limud is a different limud. If you take off ishokal se levov with v'yosaf, the extra vov of v'yosaf, v'shodis le'al chamishisoy, and he put it in the word of chamishisoy. Aveli chamishisov. It becomes, when you take a letter from one word and you put it on another word, Rashi explains you have to put it on the beginning, on the end. So if you put it on the end, you have two vovs, and that's read like a yud. Many choimishes, and that's why by Truma, there is a few choimish, the Mishnah says. Gabe hekdesh ksivi yosaf chamishis. It says also extra vov, but it says chamishis. Afagav dishoch chikras levov. When you take the vov, the v'yosaf, v'shodis le'al chamishis, and you put on chamishis, soif, at the end of the day, avali chamishis soif, it's still yochid, it's still no loshen rabim. And therefore, by hekdesh, you know moisif choimish. Says the Gemara, v'teipu klei davele hekdesheni. Why isn't it not enough that it's considered hekdesh sheni? Meaning that hekdesh rishon is the watch I was makdish. Hekdesh sheni, that I change a watch on a different watch, and the first watch is yoyte lechulin, and the second watch becomes hekdesh. That's called hekdesh sheni. So said the Gemara, this hekdesh l'chor it's hekdesh sheni, because it was added on because of the first watch I gave. I had to give a choimish. It's because of the first one. But Omar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, a hekdesh rishon moisif choimish, only on the actual thing that was magdish, and I want to be poida moisif choimish. Al hekdesh sheni, if I change the first watch onto a second watch, and now a second watch is kodesh, ein moisif choimish, I don't have to give a fifth. So the choimish of the first one also tepu klei, because of this I don't have to give a choimish. So what's the shaila b'chlal? Omar le popular Ravina, ochi Omar Rov. This is what Rava said. Choimish is kitchilat hekdesh domi. Choimish is like a beginning of a hekdesh. Very good, because the first watch you had to add a choimish, but the choimish never existed before. It's not instead of something else. It's on top of the capital. So it's like it's the first time it's becoming kodesh. If you poider it, you have to add a choimish maybe. That's a shaila. My havalo, what's the maskona? Omar of Tuviu Mishmei Dabaya, Omar Kro, it says V'yosef Chamishis Kesef Erkecho. So it says V'Chamishis a fifth on top of the capital. Makish Choim Shele Kesef Erkoi, Ma Kesef Erkoi Moisif Choimish, like the capital you have to give a fifth. Af Kesef Chomsho, also the money of the capital. Nami Moisif Choimish, you have to add a Choimish when you pointed the Choimish. So let's just say the Shakir V'Tara outside very quickly. Rava had said, by Gezel for sure you give many times. And it says Chamishisov, it's very clearly that we know they give Choimish on Choimish. By Truma, in the Mishnah, it says clearly they do give Choimish on Choimish, and by Maisa, we know for sure not. The Kshaila is by Hekdesh, what the din? Is it like Truma or not? Do we say from Vayosaf Vayes, or no? The din of the Drosh of Vayosaf is from Vov, that we put with Chamishisov. And the Maskone is, the Raya is that we compare the capital to the fifth, and like the capital, you have to give a choimish, also the fifth you have to give a choimish. Says the Gemara, Gufa. We just said, Omar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Al hekdesh rishon moisif choimish. On the first, something you makdish at the first time and you want to be poider it, you have to give a choimish. Al hekdesh sheni, but on something that it's at fossa, it's machlif, something that already hekdesh, it wasn't that you made this hekdesh stam. You poid it, connect something else, it's like the sheni, and moisif choimish, when you poid it, that second thing, you don't have to add a fifth. Omar Rava, my time of the Rabbi Shua ben Levi, what does Mekor for Rabbi Shua ben Levi? Omar Kroy, it says in the Pasuk, V'im hamakdish igales beis, so if the one who made the kodesh will be goyel his house, hamakdish, we darshan the one who made makdish it for the first time, they made it from chulin to kodesh, v'lo matfis, not someone who's matfis, that means that he's changing it from something that's kodesh to something that's choil, even though that is something that's choil is becoming kodesh, but he's making it instead of something else. That's on makdish lechatchila, and therefore the whole din of choimish is said in the pasuk is only on something that's done hekdesh for the first time, but not something that's instead of something else. And that's the source of Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Shkoyach everyone.